issues: climate, food, energy, water, and biodiversity. So they need to ensure that you have enough information on soil was seen, and this project came about. This project, I think, has been concluded, and it provided lots of information on how to assess deserts, delineation of major agroecological zones, evaluation of global land degradation, calculation of population supporting soils. Coming back to Africa, another project known as the African Soil Information Service has been carried out and concluded. It aims at building knowledge of African soils and landscapes, improve agriculture and nutrition through evidence-based policies based, of course, on soil data, and provide ecosystem services timely and efficiently. One of the major results are some of these maps showing different soil properties: pH, nitrogen, texture, organic carbon, and so on. During this project, we also participated in using legacy data to provide soil profile database, and as Nigeria we contributed. The AFSIS has the country equivalent known as Nigerian Soil Information System. Before that, we had on the left, we had very small information with respect to the soil profile data in this country. But at the end of the project, sometimes by 2014, you can see the population. So we have more soil that can help us, information that can help us carry out proper planning. Now, there are several other projects at the national level that is aimed at helping us know where the soils are. The latest one being the National Soil Survey and Soil Fertility Mapping Effort is currently on. There are others, several others, such as soil fertility research. One that we participated was the National Fertilizer Demonstration Project, which culminated in a number of publications. Some of us, I guess, have this book that advises on fertilizer use and management practices for crops in Nigeria. Very rich resource, of course, authored and edited by Prof. Chudi and some person. Now, why do we need to manage soils? The question, first of all, to ask is, must all soils have fertilizer applied to them before you can grow crops? It's not a must that you must apply fertilizers before crops are grown. Soils are just they're akin to, let me say, fathers. As a father, your responsibility to your family is to provide for all their needs. That is the responsibility of soil to crops grown in. Soils are supposed to provide all the responsibility of seeing all the functions that it plays. But like a father too, oftentimes a father may not have all the resources to take care of his family, and he may have to go out borrowing, and that's precisely what fertilizer application is. You need to apply fertilizers to help enable the soil supply the nutrients needed by the crops. And so focus on the issue of soils where food begins. Soil fertility, the issue of soil fertility becomes very, very paramount. And what is it? Soil fertility is the ability of a soil to sustain plant growth by providing essential plant nutrients and favorable chemical, physical, biological characteristics for habitat, habitat for plants, for proper plant growth. And for many of us, we know that as far as nutrients are concerned, currently they are about 17 going to 18 essential nutrients. Some of them are organic in nature, some organic in the sense that they don't come from minerals, and some are minerals. And for the minerals, they are divided into those needed in large quantities, those needed in relatively large quantities, but not as much as the first category, and those needed in small quantities known as micronutrients. These are essential. Essential in the sense that if they are not provided, there's a likelihood that your plant can die. There's a likelihood that your plant will not be able to produce the crop that you want. There's a likelihood that your plant will not function properly as it ought to. Now, so the efforts to manage soil there is sufficient and balanced levels of the nutrients, which can be replenished as and when is needed by the plants. So they need to understand the processes that regulate this nutrient availability, the properties that control them, the environmental conditions, and they need to improve and harness needs to actually be adapted to a wider geographical extent. So there are nutrient budgets, for a system. We are told that matter can neither be created nor destroyed. They move between different phases. So there's need for nutrient budget. When inputs such as atmospheric composition and fertilizer, etc., are added, they're higher than what is into the soil, such as loss through leaching or vice versa, imbalances occur. When, for example, there's nutrient depletion, there's an imbalance of which is actually one of the main causes of soil degradation. It induces soils to be nutrient depleted, losing their capacity to support crops, while others have a higher nutrient concentration. That's when you have excess. When you have excess, it can lead to environmental pollution. So there's a need for a balance. Now, here is a pictorial showing about 6 actions that can be carried out to prevent and reverse nutrient imbalance, which include the need to judiciously use fertilizers, the need to ensure that soil nutrient is measured and mapped, the need to ensure there's crop diversification, both rotation and the rest, and they need to use adequate micronutrients so that there will be balance. Then they need to ensure that we adopt sustainable management and enhance technical support to farmers. With these ones are done according to the Global Soil Partnership Group that can prevent and reverse soil nutrients. What other efforts have been done practically to ensure that there is a balance and the nutrients are maintained in the soil? Through particularly soil fertility management. This pictorial shows the various steps or stages through which soil fertility management has gone through. Right now, one of the most popular soil fertility management is known as integrated soil fertility management. Integrated soil fertility management is depicted with stages, and the focus actually is that there should be need to use inorganic and organic fertilizer with good seed and adaptation to local environment. So there are also other methods. The Food and Agricultural Fertilizer Code is also a useful instrument that provides recommendations related with use of recycled nutrients. Other approaches are nature-based solutions, the use of microbes as alternatives or supplements for fertilizers. But have we done enough? A lot of efforts have gone into soil management and so on to ensure that there is balance, the nutrients in the soil are not depleted and so on. But today, in most of Sub-Saharan Africa, as also, of course, Nigeria is part of it, we still have these issues, particularly with respect to fertilizers and soil health issues. High cost of inputs, particularly fertilizers, and this continues to constrain Sub-Saharan Africa food systems, limiting productivity. Then there's continued to be degradation due to unsustainable soil management practices, causing nutrient mining and increased soil degradation and reducing carbon stocks and resilience. There's also heavy reliance on imported fertilizers. And we know what is happening between Russia and Ukraine has negatively impacted on our heavy reliance of this. So also the issue of COVID-19. There's also we still have the problems of fertilizer market constraints. Then there's also inadequate funding of research, development, and extension. And we know that all of this make it difficult. And then of course, the worsening climate shocks You have extremes of flooding, and you have drought also. So, in spite of all the efforts that are being made, we find that the increase, the rates, the improvements have been very small, just about 25%, taking the whole of Sub-Saharan Africa. And since about 2006, when the fertilizer summit took place in Abuja here, there have also been some small gains here and there, but not enough. Most of those gains are actually not in intensification, but just in increase in land. But we have also mentioned that as the population is growing, the land is decreasing. So it's not very positive. So, but what is responsible for some of these declines? Is it that we do not have enough science? Is it that we do not have institutions? Is it that we do not have good examples? Is it that we do not have technologies? No. The building blocks that exist in Nigeria and other parts of Africa, we have technical know-how, we have local successes, we have research programs, by attempting to answer all of these questions. And so we have this outline. We'll want to find out what is this soil where food begins, how and why is it that food comes from soil, and what are the responsibilities of the benefactors, all of us here, and then we'll give some concluding remarks. Now, the Food and Agriculture Organization actually published this very rich publication known as Soils for Nutrition, State of the Art. And this publication actually addresses this year's World Soil Day. Where is the pointer? Well, just to show that the emblem is right there at the top corner of the title page. So, what is this soil that produces food? Gratefully, the very brilliant students we have here today have actually told us, or made this statement up there very clear. Most of our religious books tell us that we're all soil. We're all from the soil. So, today, you are not just celebrating World Soil Day, you're also celebrating a day. Indeed, today is your birthday. Two people came out here and we celebrated their birthdays, but I think today is the birthday of all of us. Now, as I said, the religious books actually link soils and mankind. Buddhism, African traditions, Australian Aborigines, the Indians. Like this, Charles said, we are part of the earth and it is part of us. What before the earth befalls all of us. Earlier than that, the Greeks had a god, Gaia, which was considered the great maternal goddess, and she was considered the that's why you have the word Geo. And Geo is Egon, which means working the soil or working the earth. More profoundly, the word Homo, we talk of the human race, species called the Homo sapiens, there are other homos. It actually comes from the word humus. And humus is that organic matter fraction that is intimately in relation, with soil. Basically, it is the living material in the soil. So you find as early as about 400 BC, one Oconimicus, one Xenophon, who published a book, Oconimicus, said, to be a successful farmer, one must first know the nature of soil. Having said this, and if you agree with the very first statement I made, that we are all soil, I wish each and every one of us here a happy World Soil Day. Because as I said, today is also your day. Happy World Soil Day to all of us. So let's go back to that question. This soil where food comes, what is it? Soil, four-letter word has many meanings. It depends on this one is found in Turkey, and so on and so forth. Then the another group, known as the edaphologists, their interest is the soil, how can it be used to produce crops? And people like us fall into that group. You yet have some people that have contact or come across soil. The geologists, as far as the geologist is concerned, soil is just an overburden. You want to remove it so that he can see his rocks. His interest is not in the soil, but in the rocks. You also have the environmental scientists. They use soil information to aid in making decisions about wetlands, about the impacts, different projects we have, impact assessments, and they determine soil to aid in the protection of soil and water resources, etc. Then you have the engineers, civil engineers. Their interest in soil is which soil can I actually put on the road so that the road will be stable. Where can I build this house? Is it suitable? So you find that soil means different things to different persons. But what is sure is that soil has character. Just like each and every one of us here have character, have our character, soil has character. Unfortunately, particularly if you go to a place like the US, they refer to soil as dirt. You've heard them call soil as dirt, and the person washing your clothes, washerman, when you're washing, what you're washing, oftentimes is dirt. But soil is not dirt. Soil, dirt is actually soil out of place. Somebody, Olivia Magni said, there's a very big difference between soil and dirt. Dirt is soul to what zombies are to humans. Soil is full of life, while dirt is devoid of it. So dirt is zombie. Just like we human beings considered dead, so also is dead. So don't imagine soil as dead. Soil has character. Our planet, as been alluded to by several of the people that have spoken before me, have said the soil is, our planet depends on soil for its livelihood, and soil is certainly not just dirt. So, how do we define soil? There are various definitions, but I love this definition, which I learned in my very first year in the university. It's a definition from the International Union of Soil Science. I define soil as the collection of natural bodies occupying parts of the earth's surfaces that support plants and that have properties due to the integrated effects of climate and living matter acting upon biomaterial as conditioned by relief over periods of time. You can see why I like this definition is that it's all encompassing. It talks about how soil is formed, what soil is used for. Soil, as many of us here know, is a product of a number of factors, or comes about as a result of several factors, which includes the climate, which includes the organisms such as animals, small and big, which includes topography or the relief, the parent materials, that is basically the rock, and the time it takes. These are what we refer to as the factors of soil formation. And soil is intimately linked to other environmental sciences. Soil is the pedosphere, and is an interface between the atmosphere, which is the air, between the pedosphere and the biosphere, the organisms, between it and the hydrosphere, or the surface and groundwater, and between it and the earth, or the geosphere, and then the energy sphere, try to correct. So as far as the composition is concerned, so you see there are still lots of mystery. And that is why, as common as people think soil is not common. Man has depended on soil since the beginning of civilization, but we still know very little about it. And that is why Leonardo da Vinci, about 1500 AD, said we know more about the movement of celestial bodies than about the food, the soil, and the food. We step on it, we see it every day, we commonize it. No wonder, oftentimes people want to delegate soil because it looks so common. I'm sorry, I want to even use this very program, this activity we have now. We're not supposed to have it here. If people really knew that the soil is as important as it is, I should be. I'm sure they wouldn't drive us from where we're supposed to use. They should have given us priority to use, but it looks so common. We cannot even find, we have invited big dignitaries here. You cannot see some of them here. Because it was their soil that I see every day. So, but I want to congratulate soil scientists. Those things that are common, it's only the genius that undertakes this analysis. You know what is common, what everybody sees is that nothing. But you think you still want to dig deep. So you want to congratulate you that you are a genius. Remember the man that actually helped us to know about gravity. He was just sitting under an apple tree. And something fell, so what? People have been seeing apple falling, it's normal now. Is it not supposed to be normal? But he wanted to think that made him a genius. So you are geniuses. I want to reiterate that soil is the thin part of the earth, but human beings, living things, cannot survive without it. And unfortunately, if we do not treat it well, it's actually a finite resource. You can finish soil. You can finish soil. So you need to actually ensure that you keep the soil alive, both the quality and its health. Because soil, the population is increasing, while the resource as far as per capita is reducing. Let's start from the 50s. You can see the total area per capita was about 650 square meters per individual. But by the time we reach the year 2100, the population would increase so much that the size that is available for an individual will become so small. Now, I mentioned the term soil health. We need to ensure that we maintain the soil health. Now, what is soil health? Soil health is the state of the soil meeting its range of ecosystem functions as appropriate to its environment. This is a definition from the USDA, the United States Department of Soils and National Resource and Conservation Service. Soil health and quality are often used interchangeably. Health refers to the internal state of an entity. The hemostasis, how you feel like, it shows how healthy you are. Then quality refers to that entity, that's the fitness for the purpose. So the term health implies a capacity to sustain function, not merely a particular function, but a full range of functions. As far as one researcher known as Doran, he said quality is more used by academics and health by non-academics. So he defines soil health as the continued capacity for soil to function as a vital living system within ecosystems and land boundaries, to sustain biological productivity, to promote quality of air and water environments, to maintain plant, animal, and human life. We need to do this if we want that soil to continue producing food. As we say, soil provides ecosystem functions, which includes infiltration of water, its retention, absorption of nutrients, degradation of pesticides, pollutants, and stabilizing temperatures. It sequesters carbon, decomposes the organic substrates. It also provides other services insect pests and pollination, which not really may be soil, but is soil related to soil. So let's emphatically state again that humans depend on soil to meet the basic necessities of life, which are food, shelter, and clothing. To the extent that somebody has said, soil is the resurrecting force that transforms death to life. Soil is the resurrecting force that transforms death to life. This pictorial shows the many functions of soil. Looking at some of them in a little bit of details, soil actually is where the basis for food and fiber production. And this is one of the most important functions of soil, providing medium for roots to grow, and through this, water and nutrients are provided for the plants. It also stores important elements such as carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, and the rest. Specifically as a medium of plant growth, it supports the roots and keeps them upright, right? It provides plants with essential minerals and nutrients. It provides air for gas exchange between the roots and the atmosphere. It protects plants from erosion and other destructive physical, biological, and chemical activity. It holds water and maintains adequate aeration. Soil also filters, buffers, and transforms a number of substances, some of which are noxious. Soil is also a habitat and a gene reservoir. You may wish to know that soil, a lot of drugs come from, say, but there's a special branch of soil that is known as, that is dedicated to medical soil science. A healthy soil houses a large biodiversity than any other habitat, such as the forests and oceans. Soil is a foundation. It's the basis for construction of buildings, roads, and infrastructure. Soil is a source of raw materials. Gravels, sand, silt, and clay, some of which are used for building this house, come from the soil. Some also other minerals, with the exception of those that are taken below 1 to 2 meters, are also coming from the soil. Soil is also a historical medium. It shows important archaeological, cultural, and historical heritage. And most of what we have mentioned, somehow they are linked to food production. So, what are the responsibilities of those of us that are using or benefiting from soil? The question we want to ask are, do we know where the soils are? Where are the soils? Which type of soils are located where? What have we done to ensure that these soils are classified, maintained, and what have we not done? We attempt to answer this. In an attempt to know where soils are, lots of efforts have been made. One of the recent one was an effort by an international effort, which known as the Global Soil Map.net, a digital soil map of the world project. This project focused on ensuring that the needed soil information was gathered by carrying out surveys, because soil is so important that it touches on the 4 big industrial uses, engineering, etc., this building, raw materials, industry, soil eating. I don't want to go one by one. Architectural importance of archaeological importance of soil, animation, tools and social identity. History. If you want to know the history, it is important that you know the soils where they lived before. And sometimes those artifacts are used even to identify
their trade, their working materials and so on, and even to settle dispute. If you are contesting that soil belongs to your family and so on, as in between towns, you can use such things to identify who owns that land from this thing. Hydroponics as alternative to soil crop production. I know I'm watching this slide. For 30 minutes. Yes, no problem. Hydroponics is a method of growing plants indoors without using any soil. Plants get all their nutrition from soil solution, and plants are suspended not to the soil, but with some other, provisions. But it has advantages, there are no doubt. There's an extended growing season because it is controlled within indoors. So it can be grown in season. Improved growth and yield because insects diseases are almost controlled. It's like greenhouse. High plant density, they can be planted because the resources, the soil solution comes from, or the nutrients come from the soil solution. Less water consumption. In the case of soil, you have to apply a lot of water in irrigation to give nutrients to soil. Fewer pest problems, easier to harvest, and so on. It's also used in combination with aeroponics to produce lettuce in the moon. That is what I see as the greatest achievement of use of hydroponics. But look at the disadvantages. Hydroponics cannot be used to produce, and many of the crops that support human life. Cannot be used to produce maize, cannot be used to produce yam, cannot be used to produce cassava, cannot be used to produce unicorn, it's only vegetable most of the time. So there's limited time and quantity, and it's very expensive to set up. Depends on power. In Nigeria, for instance, how many hours of power can you use? So it requires constant monitoring and maintenance. A lot of waterborne diseases associated with it. In fact, I conclude that hydroponics and aeroponics cannot substitute for soil in feeding the world population now and in the near future. Anybody depending on hydroponics, just more or less, he has a lot of money to spend. So soil remains our hope for producing food for the population of the world. Lunar soil. In 1969, information had that soil had been discovered in the moon. What we call lunar soil. But the lunar soil is not soil. It's just disintegrated basaltic material called hydrogen. And therefore, we cannot have a hope that our future soil will be coming from what? The moon. But we will also think that soil scientists should be part of the astronauts that will go there and decide whether what they call soil is real soil or how long the so-called regolith will metamorphose into soil. There's a lot of difference between the so-called lunar soil and lunar soil. There's no life in that lunar soil. Therefore, it is not soil. Now, characteristic expectations of soils from future soils. Are we able to get the soils of the future that can tackle this degradation problems? Erosion, bleaching, acidification, salinization, suffocation, climate change, flooding, wildfire, and earthquake. It's a question. And a question that will make us think, soil scientists. Because these are problems that are already on ground and which are facing our existing soils. How are they tackling it? No, very difficult. to provide answers immediately. Something, soil that can degrade non-biodegradable waste, glass, plastics, graves, Well, I'll give an example, the glass and plastic. These graves now, I must say, to be honest, the way our brothers, Muslims, bury their corpse dead ones, that was our old system in Igbo land. No concrete, no the things that are not degradable. Because in those days, after about 20 to 15 years, they can cultivate that place. No loss of land. But these days, down our side, they make a lot of marble, concrete, put grave there, and the corpse comes there, and the corpse becomes a permanent occupant of that grave. It's not on the coast. So, I remember when we talk about soil profile, 1.8 liters, and we say that's 6 feet. Every human being requires 6 feet. It's a normal concept. Do everything what you require from the world is 6 feet. And that is the depth of soil profile, where microorganisms can act on the corpse as quickly as possible. Remember that I had a concept publication where I said, what saves man from COVID-19 was the soil. Remember all the corpses. If they were left on the surface of the earth, what would happen? Even before the vaccines and so on, test this one. So it was the soil that saved human beings from COVID-19. You can imagine. So, we also need soils that can support agriculture on certain basis with zero negligible soil amendment, because soil amendments are expensive. They add to the cost of production. If you can get that soil, we'll be happy, and so on. I'm just trying to give some illustration here about non-degradable waste. From World Bank report, about 2.01 billion tons of municipal waste are generated annually. And these 33% are not disposed the way they're supposed to. That means they are found themselves on the soil. They also say each one of us generates about 0.7 kilogram of waste per day. You can imagine all these plastics now, which we are using now. Where they are going, we don't know. The ones that are here in this room. So, soil is receiving a lot of, I don't know, whether to say rubbish, it's rubbish now, and making it become less competent in its functions. So, from this World Bank report, 44% food and green waste, this one is okay. It's great, you can put it somewhere, but non-biodegradable waste accounts for up to 56%. Paper and cardboard, plastics, glass, metal, rubber, and some hardwood. We all know, move around and see plastics. Plastics is very discouraging on the soil and blocking waterways and so on. So, something we have to do. Well, glass degradation, I came across this information. But we know that if you don't handle this glass disposal, you have to have information. It takes 1 million years for a glass bottle to decompose in an environment. How many people stay up to 80 years or so? 1 million years. So recycling of glass. It's a major way of removing glass, but a lot of it is still found on soil. Okay? Plastic degradation. This one, there is this finding by Japanese researchers that they have found a bacterium in Leonella psychiatrists that can degrade PET, polyethylene terephthalate. That is the material used in making plastic. If this bacteria or bacterium can be worked on and possibly multiplied and so on, maybe it's like a projection of a possibility to get plastics together. But they say it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. What are the current challenges to soil researchers? Tackling soil degradation, as I mentioned, funding is a problem. National government, World Bank, and so on should be asked to help. The concept of prevention is better than cure, which is the least cost-effective. The highest cost-effective way of protecting our soil. There should be a way of communication, propaganda, and so on and so forth. Niss is good at this one, and we have to step up. Application of existing reliable research results. Many are still in the shelf, so there should be encouragement on to be done. And we need soil scientists, future soil scientists, and government should help to encourage them by giving scholarships for those who want to study soil science. It's not a big demand. They are doing that education. Especially they are doing something, I think it's low or something, for those studying education. And knowing the importance of soil, I think it's important that we encourage our young people to study soil science. Every family should have a soil scientist. Is it not possible? Knowing the importance of soil. I know the soil for every person who want to have a medical doctor or so. But if you can produce food well and eat well, you need to go to hospital. Think about it. We have to convince ourselves, to reorganize ourselves for research on soil future. And that can be facilitated on training. We know that existing facilities now may not be adequate enough to support research on soil future. For instance, this degradation of plastics and plastics and so on. But when facilities are there, some people will be encouraged to do that. Provision of funds is also a problem. We have mentioned some of these organizations that should be approached to support this research. Simple conclusion. I look at soil of the future, say challenge to soil scientists, because we say that business as usual in soil research is not enough to upscale soil functions and uses in the future because of various challenges. That this challenge is coming from climate change effects, increasing and regular occurrences of soil degradation processes by human activities, natural disasters, including flooding, wildfire, and earthquake. Remember, what causes destruction in earthquake is soil liquefaction. The shaking of earthquake converts soil around into liquid, and it shakes all the foundation of the road, buildings, and so on. So, in most cases, the destruction of these facilities and infrastructure are affected. They don't report that soils have been destroyed when it is the real cause of all the destruction. We say no soil cannot be manufactured, but through appropriate research strategies, the organic soils of the future is feasible. So, for example, soil salinization, solidification, acidification can be eliminated or reduced by appropriate water and nutrient management practices. Far back, 1982, when Agri Society of Nigeria had a conference in Medjugorje, one Indian told us that if Nigeria can pump crude oil from Atlantic Ocean to Kaduna or whatever, why can't Nigeria pump water from Atlantic Ocean to desert, the north? We thought it's a joke or something like that. If there's facility to contain this flood and move it to our desert, as if there are facilities like that. And it's not because we are lax about so many things. It is possible. Make provision when there's flood, move it to our desert there, and so on. And we recover all those soils in the desert. Well, this soil. I say again that when the productivity of saline, tonic, and acidic soils is restored, they become new soils. And these new soils can be linked to soil solidification. When any problematic and productive soil is transformed to productive soil, a new soil is born. So the issue of management of waste, I know it's more difficult than converting those productive soils to, and unproductive to productive soils. But at least that can help us create new soils and ensure future. So I say that soils of the future are reliable. I acknowledge and thank Niss for the opportunity, and they will continue to do what we are on it. So I thank everybody for listening.
Thank you very much, Rob. Can we stand up and give Rob, 5 boosters? That's it. That's our name. Yes. Oh, that's the other voice. She has a foundation actually takes off on the next one. This is the last one, and I'm sure, yes, with this agreement, we are going to get the best. Thank you. Please put your hand.
Good afternoon. I want to stand on the same protocol. I'm going to briefly talk about the nexus between soil security and food security in achieving zero hunger and healthy nation. So this is the outline we are going to briefly look at. Brief introduction. This we are going to define some terms. Then look at the effect of connectivity between soil security and food security. Negative effect of connectivity between soil security and food security. Look at soil degradation and types. How does soil security, in brackets, capability and condition affect food security? We will take a case study, also that heavy metals and micronutrients. Then we look at heavy metals effect on soil. The micronutrients, what it causes, so the deficiency in the soil, effects on crops, and then how it can lead to zero hunger and affect the health of the nation. Then the next we will look at is ways to improve soil to ensure food security and hunger. The previous speakers have really done justice to this, talking about soil. But the one that interests me when I have is the soils are the basis of life. 99% 90% of our food comes from the soil. Soil is food for our food. If our food doesn't eat, neither do we eat. So we're going to introduce these terms. Professor Amabo and Professor Sado has really done justice to this. But then, we have the soil phase, which you all know. We have the solid phase made up of inorganic materials, organic matter 4%, and living organisms 1%. Then we have the gaseous phase, which is made up of 25% of soil and air, and then the other liquid phase, 25% of soil water, which has to do with solution and then plant nutrient. I say that soil is the habit of food and crop production. Without soil, there will be no food. There will be no water, there will be no ecosystem, there will be no biodiversity. And because soil is the hallmark of all this. What is food security? Food security refers to just two major things, maintenance and improvement of the soil. And the essence of doing that, maintaining the soil and improving the soil, is that we continue to have food fiber, fresh water, and contribute to energy and climate sustainability, and maintain biodiversity, protect the ecosystem, goods and services, and as well as contribute to human health. In other words, if you don't secure the soil, then all these will be affected. And then soil security is ensured through agricultural land practices that promote the efficiency of the capability, improve and maintain soil conditions. Then soil fertility and soil security, we have the 5 C dimensions of soil security. The first one is capability. This has to do with soil function and capability. And the question we always ask here is, what can soil do? What can you use the soil to do? We have soil, we can use them to do different things. There are soils meant to grow forests. There are soils meant for pasture. There are soils meant for agriculture. There are soils meant for urbanization. So capability is asking us the stability, how best to use the soil. Then we have soil condition that has to do with soil health quality, and this has to do with the nutrient content of the soil, pH, biodiversity, and organic carbon. Then we have habitat, that's the next, the third C. Has to do with ecosystem services, natural value, financial capital, what we attach to the soil, the financial value that we attach to the soil. Then the next C is connectivity. How do we care for the soil? How does human relate to soil? Just as when Professor Asado was, presenting his talk about, our brothers in other religions that, they get close to the soil. So that whenever, it asks us how to get connected to the soil. Then we have codification. This has to do with policies and regulations that apply to soil resources. So when all these 5 soil dimensions are put in place and they are maintained, then we are really sure to be proud to say that we have secured the soil. The food security, as you know, is a situation when all people have access to sufficient, that's having enough, safe and nutritious food. And then, soil, as I said before, that every crop production comes from the soil. So the ability to produce nutritious crops in sufficient amount depends on soil properties and condition. Soil with enhanced properties are the physical, biological, and chemical properties are able to promote crop growth, which leads to abundant yield, and these are good drivers for food security. Zero hunger. We are still, remember that we are still defining some terms, the key terms. Zero hunger is a second sustainable development goal, and it is aimed at ending hunger, achieving food security, improving nutrition, and promoting sustainable agriculture. And the summary of all this is that, for you to end hunger, to achieve food security, it all starts from the soil. So there are 2 effects of connectivity. Remember that we're talking about the connection between food security soil security and food security to achieve zero hunger and then a healthy nation. So there are 2 effects of connectivity between soil security and food security. The first one is the negative connectivity, the second one is the positive connectivity. So what are the negative effects? We know that the world population is around 7.8 million. As of the time I wrote this, maybe it has really increased. And then by 2030, we expect that it will hit up to 8.5 billion rather, not million. And then, all this put pressure on the land. The land is not growing, the sun is not growing, but the population is growing. Great demand for food, fiber, and other materials. So it has a population increase and negative impact on food production. So to be able to meet this, British Council 2016 recommended that we need to increase food production at least by 50%. And for us to achieve that, it means that we have to exert more pressure on the soil. So one of the pressures that come from this population increase is soil degradation. And there are three types of soil degradation. We have the first one, physical degradation. That's the reduction in the function of the soil structure and its ecosystem. And this results in particle size dispersion, soil porcelain, increased pore density, among others. Then the biological degradation also have to do with damage or elimination of one or more important population of microorganisms. And this can come by when you have heavy metals, contamination from the spillage, crude oil, and it affects the microflora. And this leads to soil degradation. Then the chemical degradation refers to a combination of toxic chemicals, chemical processes, and then natural processes. And then chemical degradation involves loss of nutrients, organic matter, acidification, nutrient imbalance, among others. And then the removal of nutrients reduces the capacity of soil to support plant growth and crop production, and it also causes acidification. So, how does soil security, in bracket, talking about the capability and then condition, negatively affects food security? We are taking case studies of soil acidity, heavy metals, and micronutrients. When the soil is acidic, you have the availability of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and others. Then you have high availability of manganese, copper, zinc. And when this is much in the soil, it affects the plant's growth. Iron and aluminum availability increases. And then high level of aluminum in the soil solution affects root development. And when root development is affected, it affects the uptake of nutrients. Activities of nitrogen fixing organisms are also affected, they will decrease. And then as aluminum is decreasing in soil solution, the concentration of calcium and manganese will decrease, and this will affect plant growth. And when the plant is affected, then it will affect it. When it is affected, then we are not going to affect the security of food. In other words, when you don't have enough plants, and that's conditions encouraging plant growth, it will affect plants and crop productivity, and then they won't have enough food to feed the nation, and then that means that the nation will the correlation matrix. When you have acidity in the soil, for instance, available phosphorus, there is negative correlation. Showing, sorry, there is yes, there should be minus there. Showing that as acidity is increasing, availability of phosphorus is reducing. So heavy metals like lead, cadmium, they also affect the soil health. Mercury, pesticide, and organic materials, so organic chemicals, they all affect the health of the soil. When you have them in the soil, then the microflora will be affected, and then the biochemical processes in the soil will also be affected, and that will negatively affect plant yield. So this is just a table showing macronutrients, which is very important to us. When we have deficiency of macronutrients, it will lead to what is called the hidden hunger, which you may not see people being hungry, but health-wise they are affected. For instance, when you have boron, high pH can cause deficiency of boron, and then what is the effect on plants? Food in brackets, food and nutrition security, and zero hunger. You have distorted growth of plants, and then roots, and then healing of leaf, and eventually death. Land. So all this has effect on the soil, has effect on them. So when we put soil in good condition, then we are sure of achieving almost more than half of these SDGs. So let's say that when we manage the soil and proper restoration of the world soil, that they have the capacity to grow adequate and nutritious food for the present and the future population. So ways of improving soil to ensure food security and zero hunger for a healthy nation. The first one is conservation tillage, which includes zero and minimum tillage. Then we have proper residue retention. You leave the residue on the soil after harvesting. Then you have integrated organic and inorganic fertilizer. Incorporation of legumes crops into the soil. Crop rotation. Then you use the lime if the soil is acidic, and then gypsum if the soil is alkaline. Then you have irrigation. It's good that we manage this irrigation. Let it be, applied at the appropriate time, and then as well as manage the water, knowing the type of water you want to use for irrigation. And then you do proper soil tests. And then, there is need to have the soil test results interpreted. So, when we manage the soil, the 5 C's, as I said before, we'll be sure that we'll have enough food. We'll have people that will not go without food and a healthy nation. So what are the positive connectivity between soil security, healthy nation, zero hunger, and the food and nutrition security? Notice that soil has foods, 3 of them. So this is a table. May very faint from where you're saying, but let me just take capability for instance, under soil security, then what is soil security function of capability? Production of abundant food in a stable land. As I said before, capability has to do with what you can use the land to, the soil to do, what is suitable for the soil. So when you use the soil to do to plant the appropriate crop, you have abundant food. Therefore, food security has surplus and available food for all. Therefore, zero hunger, everybody will have access to food, no one will go hungry. And then for healthy nation, you have peace and stability, there are no social vices. You see, we have war because people are hungry. When you feed people, when people have enough to eat, nobody will think of going to war. And then let me also take, this connectivity, what we need to us, what we need to.
Both chemicals and used to spray in their farm. In the night, rain fell and carried all the diseases into one stream. And then cows were grazing. After grazing, they went to drink water there. And they all died. So our Ministry of Agriculture should take care to know what type of chemicals are, what is the source of the chemicals. Now again, when I was in Meduguri, I stayed in Meduguri for about 5 years. I was consultant to Northeast Arizona. So these Israelis came to visit us. I took them around northern Nigeria, and they saw that we have water surfaces. I said, what are you people doing here? These water surfaces should be deepened, so it can contain more water for irrigation during the dry season. And you see, if you look around, you see that most of our rivers are sedimented. Most of our rivers are sedimented. We need officially to, from time to time, dredge all these river channels in order to contain more water. More rain will be coming. More rain will be coming. And we shall continue to survive this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Prof has taken more than. So, don't worry, you took half a second. So, we are almost there. Professor Jibril, please.
So much. My job is to give vote of thanks. But before I do that, I want you to reflect on the importance of this day, especially the young students who are our future. From the various presentations, I'm sure you understand that without proper soil management, without soil health, there's no future for us. So on this note, I want to thank the United Nations for declaring December 5th as the World Soil Day. And particularly, I must recognize the lead role played by the Food and Agriculture Organization in getting this day to be recognized as a World Food Day, and also the various support the federal government of Nigeria gave in realizing this process. Let me thank the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, the Minister of State for Agriculture, and the Permanent Secretary Ministry of Agriculture for the powerful representation we have in this occasion today. Also, I want to thank them for all the support they have been giving to soils and studies of soils and management of soils through Niss, through Soil Science Society of Nigeria, and through other organizations. The Executive Secretary of ARCN, ably represented, thank you very much for your support and for raising this occasion. The speakers, Professor Amapu, Professor Asadu, Professor Onka, these were very, very well presented presentations. I'm sure everybody, both the young ones and the professionals, have learned one or two things from the presentations today. So we're going more enriched. The other colleagues, especially staff of Niss, who gave us wonderful art, wonderful drama, representing the various things we need to do to manage ourselves. The two young children that presented very beautiful poems. Thank you very much. I also want to recognize various companies, particularly OCP in Nigeria, FEPSAN, Indorama, Kandel, the National Agency for the Great Green Wall for supporting the activities of the World Soil Day. I must also mention the support of especially the press. There are so many press, so many media organizations that were here today promoting and taking our messages all over the country. It is very important we raise awareness about soils, and the role of the press cannot be overemphasized. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure I'm going to miss out so many people. So if I don't mention your name, I apologize. If I don't mention your organization, I apologize. I also look forward to reading and receiving reports of various activities across the nation in our universities, our research institutes, commemorating the World Soil Day. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Jibril from Kano.